To shield a person from hardship sometimes requires standing directly in front of them and taking the difficulty upon yourself. It often is a selfless act that requires a deep-rooted strength. Can a company exude that same strength of character to protect its customers from technological complexity?
When you install an application on a PC back in the day, or when you now install an application in a data center, or now it's more increasingly into the cloud, this is not a technical description, but there is a whole bunch of stuff that gets put out into a variety of different environments. Back in the day, in the late 80s, it was hardware registry keys and software registry keys. Today, it might be containers. But the fundamental premise of InstallShield, it was designed to shield people like you and I from the complexities associated with all of that stuff being installed. It was design point of let's just simplify an exceedingly complicated process from the end user.
That's Jim Ryan, President and CEO of Flexera, a company that helps its customers manage and maximize the money they spend on IT. Flexera has a history that traces back to 1987 and a product called InstallShield. On this episode of Business X Factors, find out how the mentality behind the creation of that historical product continues to inform Flexera's success today. I'm Jeremy Bergeron, Head of Strategy at Mission.org. Welcome to Business X Factors. Each week, we'll take a look at the secret sauce that takes companies to the highest levels of success and then unpack how they got there. We'll explore how these organizations are even run, and then what's so special about the people, the culture, and the processes that make it all happen. What is technology for? Our friends at Hyland believe technology is for transforming the way you work, for delivering complete information when and where you need it, so you can be more agile, more empowered, more connected. Through each interaction and in every relationship, Hyland believes in technology thoughtfully designed to create better customer experiences. Hyland is your X factor for better performance. Go to hyland.com/insights to learn more. That's hyland.com/insights. In 1998, Jim Ryan joined a company called InstallShield Software Corp. that would eventually morph into Flexera. But to really understand Jim and his career at Flexera, we have to go further back in time and focus on the place where he grew up.
For me, it all starts in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I was raised in Green Bay, just a little bit over a mile from Lambeau Field. It's a small town. Green Bay is a great town. And my mom grew up in Milwaukee. That was always the big city. And my mom taught me to dream big and to aspire to do great things. And in my household, it was all about keeping up on world events, watching the news. And somewhere along the line, somebody gave me a little world time zone watch when I was in second or third grade. I just became obsessed with world time, international companies, foreign languages, and started to dream of a world beyond Green Bay.
Given his developing passions for the greater world, Jim studied political science with an international emphasis and French at Marquette University in Milwaukee. While at Marquette, Jim ended up securing a career-changing internship.
I stumbled my way into tech. I ended up getting an internship at IBM in 1987. Back in 87, IBM was the most admired company in the world. It was like becoming a doctor. Hey, did you hear? Jimmy got a job at IBM. Oh my goodness. 87 was my junior and my senior year at Marquette. It paid great money. It actually funded my college education. And I just never left. I didn't leave once I graduated. I started off at IBM. They did a great job, told me how to dress, how to present. And they taught me about the computer industry and the history of computing. That was such a great foundation for me.
When working at a startup after IBM, an opportunity was presented to Jim that suited him perfectly and ended up being a launching point to joining InstallShield Software Corp.
And then on a lark, I was talking to a partner of the company that I was working for, and he said, "Hey, listen, we're looking for an international sales manager that's fluent in either Spanish or French. Do you know of anybody?" And I almost fell off my chair because that was always one of my dreams. And I said, "Well, yeah, me, I can speak French and I'd love that job." So I took that job once removed from IBM and managed Europe or Western Europe remotely from Chicago as a fairly young guy of 25, 26. And it was there that was really the platform to then go and make the move over to InstallShield because they were looking for somebody to ironically run their international operations in Asia Pacific and Europe.
InstallShield was a popular product at the early stages of Flexera's historical roots. Today, it still holds the key to the company's success. Jim explains a little about Flexera's roots and the product's backstory.
It was two guys, Varesh Bhatia and Rick Harold, Northwestern graduates that had come out with a series of different products. DemoShield, InstallShield, I forget, there's a variety of different shields. They were going to make their riches on this product called DemoShield, which is a way to demo your products for PC applications back in the day. And they went to a trade show and somebody said, "That's great. I think I'd like to buy that." And they soon realized that they had no way to install this product that they had come up with and that somebody wanted to buy. So they came up with InstallShield. The premise is simple, and I think the premise lives today in many respects. But when you install an application on a PC back in the day, or when you now install an application in a data center, or now it's more increasingly into the cloud, this is not a technical description, but there is a whole bunch of stuff that gets put out into a variety of different environments. Back in the day, in the late 80s, it was hardware registry keys and software registry keys. Today, it might be containers. But the fundamental premise of InstallShield, it was designed to shield people like you and I from the complexities associated with all of that stuff being installed. It was design point of let's just simplify an exceedingly complicated process from the end user. Present day, everything we do is really designed to shield the end users from the complexities associated with technology. It's exceedingly complex and exceedingly expensive. And our job is to try and simplify that and let the people sleep soundly at night.
This protective posture to shield customers from complexity is admirable, but simplifying complexity is easier said than done. How does Flexera protect their customers? Find out after the break. When I need help, I want someone who understands where I am now and where I'm coming from, but with a broader perspective. The folks at Hyland are like that. Hyland is a true partner to more than half of Fortune 100 companies, a partner that understands your industry and offers expertly tailored solutions that evolve with you. With Hyland, you gain a complete view of information across your organization, along with the agility to compete at the top of your game and deliver better customer experiences. Hyland is your X factor for better performance. Go to hyland.com/insights to learn more. That's hyland.com/insights. Hey, welcome back. Before the break, we heard from Jim Ryan, President and CEO of Flexera, about how the mission tied to Flexera's historical roots to shield its customers from the complexities of technology is still relevant in the company's work today. But with technology more complex than ever, how does Flexera continue to safeguard their customers?
Our singular focus on helping our customers optimize their spend. That just sounds so simplistic. Well, of course you should optimize your spend. Every supply chain in industry today and every supply chain over the last 100 years has ultimately been streamlined and optimized. Pick anyone. Back in the early 1900s when they still had gas lamps and they were bringing out subscription programs for gasoline to light the lamps, to today, people transitioning to SaaS and subscription. It's really just the same thing over and over and over. And where we're anchored in is, I always like to say that technology is just like electricity nowadays. It's everywhere. It powers everything. Of course, everybody's saying every business is now a technology business. And yet, like electricity, sometimes you can't see these cloud services and the software that you're paying for. You can't touch it, you can't feel it, but it's everywhere.
Jim's 100% right. Technology permeates every aspect of our world. He's also correct that sometimes technology is not easy to visualize. Whether tech is readily seen or not, there is a cost to every single bit of it.
When you look at the P&L or the budget for any one of our customers, it's measured in the millions to billions of dollars, or sometimes even hundreds of billions of dollars a year, all flying around.
As leaders in the IT space, Flexera issues reports that contain surveys from relevant IT professionals. In the Flexera 2021 State of Tech Spend Report, survey participants reported an average IT spend of 7.5% of revenue. Certainly that percentage can add up for any company. To provide additional context, Gartner's forecast for IT spend for the entire world in 2022 is about $4.5 trillion with a T. To limit IT spend, priority number one for a company becomes figuring out what tech is actually being utilized. Flexera assists with that process and then takes it from there to help reduce cost.
We've carved out a space that allows us to find out everything that's being used, pull it back and contextualize it, and then we run algorithms across it based on our knowledge of how these things are licensed and entitled to help get great outcomes for our customers. It's a massive problem. It's measured in the trillions of dollars. And if we can help just save just a few points on the trillions of dollars that are being spent in this area, those are big outcomes. And that's really ultimately what helps a company survive over a quarter century is, do you solve big problems? And if so, can you do it in a way that customers will keep coming back to you versus the other alternatives that they've got?
One way to think about Flexera's approach is that following the money makes money. Flexera helps companies learn more about their supply chain, determine what they are spending money on, and when possible, reduce expenses. It's simple, but true. Customers appreciate value. If you save them money, you will earn their business.
We really have followed the money in our business all these years. All of this technology that our customers are using, this technology that we've established is driving the business for our customers. It has a profound impact on their operating budget. And we've never lost sight of that.
According to Jim, it's a combination of Flexera's human touch and tech that helps companies reduce their spend.
It sounds basic, but you sit down with a chief procurement officer or a CIO or a CFO initially and get him or her to share with you, tell me about where your money's going after the people. We don't help you with your people. You're going to have to bring on talented people and pay them accordingly. But when you look at where your money is going in terms of your suppliers, let's put together a descending list and let's figure out where you're spending the most top to bottom. And let's just focus on your top 10, for example. And that's where you're going to get what we call the usual suspects. And what we've mastered from a technology perspective, the first thing is, and it sounds simplistic, you've got to find it. You've got to discover it. When you think about a company like a large automotive company that operates on a worldwide basis, finding all of this technology in the corners of the world in hybrid and multi-cloud environment, cross SaaS applications and desktops and data centers, just finding things is exceedingly difficult. And we've perfected or have come close to perfecting the art of bringing all that information back. But then we also normalize it or curate it into a data set that you can actually make decisions on.
As technology continues to become ever more complicated and interconnected, Flexera has to be forward-thinking. This includes a focus on technological innovation.
We have the R&D tech-centric innovation thinking going on. Where are Kubernetes containers going in a cloud environment? How do we bring your own license key to an office environment that you can port over the cloud? Those are inherently technical, and you're trying to read the Ouija board as to where that's going over the next 5 years. We've got a whole team of people, our engineering, our CTO leads that organization, and there's constantly discussions going on with that respect.
But Flexera must also project how the market will evolve. Customers have to be guided in the right direction with the future in mind.
There's another market-centered set of discussions around the future that are equally important. And they have less to do with technology, more to do with go-to-market motions, because that's just as important part of the equation to us being successful and adding value to our customers is what's going on with the market in addition to the technology.
The following the money principle provides Flexera a clear take on the current state of IT affairs, as well as a good basis to predict its future. There's big talk about cloud technology right now, especially from tech. But Flexera is analyzing the money to project what the reality will look like down the line.
I think that cloud is getting all of the discussion and the hype, deservedly, I think. There's not a company or an executive that I talk to that's not dramatically increasing his or her spend as it relates to cloud. And what's being spent still in data center and in desktops, the majority of the money is still in an on-premise environment. And I think we can state unequivocally, it's a hybrid environment today. And we should pencil in February 23rd of 2033, because in 10 years' time, it's still going to be a hybrid environment. Very different, but still very hybrid environment.
For Flexera, having the vision to see the technological and market landscape is not just about being right. It's about helping their customers get the most out of their money.
When you're going cross-platforms, multi-cloud, desktop to data center to cloud, the complexities associated with how you license technology from companies is complex today. And we know one thing to be true, and that is every year or two, all of these suppliers change the way they go to market. They change the way they license that. That change is very disruptive, and that change is very costly to the market and our customers. Whereas 10 years ago, we weren't talking cloud. It wasn't on the radar screen, nor was SaaS really. But today we're still following the money. It's just hybrid IT and hybrid IT optimization. And I think those that don't look at it holistically in a hybrid world and choose to try and bifurcate things on prem or data center versus cloud, I don't think they're getting a comprehensive picture, and therefore they're not getting the most optimization that they can squeeze out of their business.
For Flexera and Jim, part of helping businesses is ensuring that Flexera is the best version of itself. While scaling, this process can mean change for people, and it can also require that more structures are put in place. When I asked Jim about the lessons he learned during the scaling process, he reflected on some cliches that he believes have some truth to them.
Sometimes the people that got you to one level of success aren't necessarily the ones to get you to the next level or the level thereafter. It's about team that can scale and grow, and not everybody can, and certainly not everybody wants to. There was a lot of people back in the day and over the years that have decided to punch out just because we've gotten too big, and it's different. I still find it to be fun, but there are others that find it less fun as you get bigger. There's another expression, one man's treasure is another man's trash. I always like to say one man's bureaucracy is another man's process and controls.
Jim stresses the importance of a healthy balance of systems and processes so that people and innovations can flourish as a company grows. He credits much of Flexera's success to finding this balance.
It's a lot like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You don't want too much, you don't want too little, you want just right. And I think our ability to scale and to grow and to be successful over a long period of time is a direct byproduct of us assessing when it's too hot or too cold and cooling things down or warming them up here. Because again, if you do too much, you suffocate innovation, you stifle people, you shut down controversial views and perspectives there. But if you don't have enough, it's just the Wild West and everybody's off doing whatever they're doing, colliding like atoms, and that very rarely works out. I think we've been able to moderate just how much we do that as you go through different phases of your life cycle. First time you pass 50 million a year, 100 million, $250 million a year. You need to bring on the right people, and then you need to put the right, I like the word framework better than processes, the right operating framework that allows people to innovate and thrive, but also has the checks and balances necessary to just make sure everybody's coordinated and it's not just a free-for-all.
Follow the money is a line in the movie All the President's Men. In the film's context, the line was said to suggest that tracing the money would uncover corruption. Within the movie, following the money helped lead to the desired result. Flexera follows the money. Doing so protects their customers from wasted IT spend and helps them maximize the technology they use to shield their customers from technological complexity while also saving them money. Flexera uses the human touch combined with tech that helps to provide insights. Ultimately, Flexera reminds us of a simple but important lesson for any business: protecting customers from wasting money, much like a classic movie, never loses its allure. I don't know about you, but when I have a decision to make, I look for information. I may look through emails, documents, photos, and files in multiple places. And if I'm lucky, I find what I'm looking for. So it's amazing to me that while I have trouble finding a single file, some organizations' success hinges on making sure that the right people can get all the right information they need when and where they need it. Like hospitals, insurers, banks, and all sorts of businesses. I don't know how they do it, but our friends at Hyland do. Hyland empowers more than half of 2020 Fortune 100 companies with tools that help make sure the right information gets to the right folks easily and automatically, and makes business processes smarter and more efficient. Hyland is your X factor for better performance. Go to hyland.com/insights to learn more. That's hyland.com/insights. You've been listening to Business X Factors, created and produced by our team here at mission.org and brought to you by our friends at Hyland.com. Are you enjoying this show? If you are, I know I would be so grateful if you took 2 seconds to rate and review us on Apple Podcast or Spotify, as this helps ensure that more listeners like you find the show, and it also lets me know how I'm doing. If you enjoyed this specific episode and you want to dive deeper into the topics discussed, be sure to check out the resources section of our show notes, where we've included helpful links, articles, and books, including any stat or story referenced in this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Jeremy Bergeron, and I'll catch you next time on Business X Factors.